Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to ask everyone to please take a moment to be sure your cell phones have been turned off. We welcome those of you who are joining us via live stream. Rabbi Paul Cohen, Rabbi Rachel Heaps, Cantor Liana Mendelson, Cantor Emerita Amy Zussman will be officiating. And in just a moment, we'll ask everyone to rise. Then we'll be seated as one community once the family is seated. Please rise.
Yitin lamot raglecha al yanum shomrecha hine lo yanum velo yishan Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha ayad yaminecha, Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, ve'yareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikora, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzitcha uvohecha me'ata ve'ad olam.
Beloved friends, we gather this afternoon to pay a lasting tribute of love to the life of our dear friend Jerry Lidsky, a beloved son, a brother, a husband, a father, a grandfather, a brother-in-law, an uncle, a friend, a teacher. The poet wrote, "It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched."
Shiviti Adonai, lenegdi tamid, kimi mini balemot. Lachen samach libi, vayagel kivodi, af bisari yishkon lavetach. Ki lo tazov nafshi lishol, lo titen chasir chalerot shachot, torieni orach chayim. Sova semachot et panecha, neimot bemincha hanetzach. Shiviti Adonai, lenegde tamid, kimi mini balemot.
Death has taken our beloved Jerry. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there's loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Jerry's love that united us in life, which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks, O God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. The 23rd Psalm.
Adonai roi lo echzar binot teshayar bitzeni ami menuchot Nafshi ושובב ינחני במעגלי צדק ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו גם גילך בגיצה מוות לא יראה כי אתה עמדי שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה ach tov v'chesed yirtifuni kol yemei chayai kol yemei chayai v'shavti bevit Adonai beorach yamim Adonai roi lo echzar Adonai roi lo echzar
On the inside of our pamphlets, we read the translation together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
There are precious few people in the world who are universally known as Menschen, a Mensch, and that was Jerry. The psalmist wrote about such a person, and what defines their character certainly defines Jerry's character. Adonai, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain, those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them, or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai Natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. God has given, and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. In ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief in the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one, Jerry Lidsky, Yerucham, who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love. As we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, blessed be the name of God, now and forever. Amen. We invite you to take these next few moments to call forward the cherished memories that you have of Jerry's life and how his love touched each of our hearts in this moment of silent reflection.
Yihul ratzon imre fi. Yihul ratzon imre fi. Vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goali. Oh, may the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts be acceptable before you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Huyase shalom aleinu. V'al kol Yisrael. V'imeru. V'imeru. Amen.
We know that words that come from the heart go straight to the heart. And as we continue this tribute of love to Jerry's life, we do so with the words of his family. We'll hear from his daughters, Leora and Elisa, and from grandchildren, Jordan, Ari, Jonah, Noah, and Orly.
It feels so strange to be up here with my sister, looking at my mom, because it's usually me and Elisa with my dad, sitting out there, looking up at my mom. These 11 weeks have been devastating for our family. We've been living in a constant state of shock, heartbreak, and sadness. This all happened so fast. It's hard to believe that we really are actually here. Over these last weeks with our dad, we started recording him telling stories and giving us messages, as it is very important to him to carry on his stories and keep telling them. It was a true blessing to be able to share such precious, holy time together. Being together, telling and hearing the stories, listening to him recite pages of Shakespeare from memory, telling each other everything on our minds and in our hearts, and saying I love you hundreds of times every day. I think we all feel blessed having had the time to say everything we wanted to say and hearing him say everything he wanted to say to us. But there are so many things unfinished. So many things we'll never get to do. We're so distraught that we don't get to do those things with you, Abba. The lists of the trips and the Shabbat dinners and the art projects and the walks at Botanic Gardens and through the museum with you. All the things we were planning. And now we don't get to do any of them with you anymore. So for all of you, every other relationship, for every other family member with anything else you want to do, that you have lists of what you want to do and where you want to go, things you want to do together, do them all. Do them right away when you think about them. Don't put them off. Because in a blink of an eye, things change and you can't get that time back. So I'm sad that we had to learn that lesson with you, Abba. I'm so sad about it. But just as you have always been there with us and for us all our lives, I know you will continue to be, looking down, guiding us, watching over us. How blessed we truly are. Being blessed. Elisa and I are the luckiest girls. We have the best mom. We had the best dad. Our Lidsky 4, such a treasure, and we will forever be grateful. Our dad radiated love. Whether it was him singing and being silly with us or our kids, or anything and everything he did for Elisa and me or Mom, was always coming from deep in his soul, deep in his heart. You could see it shining up through his eyes and coming out of his nose with his cute flare of his nostrils and his beautiful, beautiful smile.
One of my dad's most amazing gifts was to see the beauty of the details. His passion for photography is the most obvious example. He loved to capture the minutiae, the subtleties that can be so easily overlooked or unrecognized. But his ability to see the blessings in the smallest details carried through all aspects of his life. My dad was an exceptional human. He set the most beautiful example of human interaction. My dad treated every person he met with the utmost warmth. He would meet someone with such honest openness, no ego, no pretense. Just the Jerry smile, many times a hug, even to a stranger. He would crack a joke or say one of his famous one-liners. He would ask such warm, intuitive questions to connect to someone. He would share a story about his life, sometimes funny, sometimes vulnerable, but always wanting to relate in the most meaningful way possible. It was the little things, the details, that added to every encounter, every relationship, privately with his family or friends, or professionally with his peers or patients. He made people feel seen and heard and valued. Even in these last horrific 10 weeks, under these most traumatic circumstances, my dad remained the same magical Jerry he had always been. He talked and joked and connected to every doctor, therapist, and nurse. They all instantly loved him and all felt blessed to have known him. My parents set the utmost example of true love. My dad adored his Annie with such profound devotion and respect. They endured so many traumas together. They celebrated so many of the happiest times together. And these last 10 weeks truly exemplified their connection as each other's soulmate. My mom never left my dad's side. She took care of him every minute of those weeks. She was his angel and superhero wrapped up in one. And my dad, so overwhelmed with gratitude and love, would thank her all day in tears and say, "I am so blessed. I am so blessed." Their marriage of 58 years stood as an example of what true dedication and commitment looks like. And when we began our marriages, my dad found such great joy in gaining two incredible son-in-laws. He loved Jeff and Aaron and created beautiful personal relationships with each of them. He would always say, "Jeffrey, my boy, Aaron, my boy," with such endearment. They both went so far above and beyond in these last weeks to do anything to help our dad. Like Leora and I, they would have gone to the ends of the earth for him. He felt so blessed to have them, and so blessed that they are the fathers of his beloved grandchildren.
Jordan, Ari, Jonah, Noah, and Orly. All of you have your Baba, your Saba's beautiful heart in your souls. All of you possess so much of him. The most important and wonderful thing is that he lives on and is in all of us. His love of art, his passion for painting, sculpting, and ceramics, his skill and eye for detail in photography, his love for salt, chocolate, and cookies, his deep intellect and never-ending journey to learn more, his desire to always have the touch of cologne on, sharing the joy of the spritz with his grandsons, his appreciation of music and sweetness and sugar, sneezing from chocolate, his path as a therapist, and calling to always want to help people. And last but not least, to the very incredible, handsome Babachin.
Our earliest memories include so much of my parents instilling our love of Judaism and connection to Israel with Jewish culture and traditions. It was the details of our childhood we now look back on and see that they were filled with even more Jerry magic than we realized at the time. He was always teaching us, inspiring creativity, guiding us to live with kindness. It was so important to him to connect the generations of the past to the generations of the future. Our parents sacrificed a lot to send us to Schechter, and when our own children were then students there, my dad had such profound, overwhelming joy in being at every event as a proud grandparent.
For decades, he tried teaching us so much at Pesach Seder. There would always be a point where he'd get into his philosophical mode, talking about concepts no one really understood, but they were such precious moments, we still just loved hearing him speak so passionately. And then when he would look around and see some confused faces, he would smile and shrug his shoulders and say, "Maybe this is too much." His thirst for knowledge and love of learning and reading translated to him being a beloved and meaningful teacher to us and to so many countless others. There are so many things that exemplify our dad's loving, sweet character, his generous nature, and his humble brilliance. As a psychotherapist, Sometimes he would make relaxation tapes for clients. He was so beyond his time, practicing meditation and relaxation therapy with imagery and voice and music before it was all the rage and trending. Over the years, he had made a few for us too, with his soft, relaxing, and calming voice, and that's just who he was. He brought people peace, calmness, healing, always so caring and so compassionate.
Some of our favorite memories from our childhood are when he drove us to school every morning. He'd entertain us by teaching us Yiddish songs he'd learned as a child, or teaching us his unique yodeling that always made us laugh. When we were little and shared a room, he would lay in bed at night and make up all kinds of silly stories, or he would share ones that he knew we would love. They were such special memories, but recently became even more special when he told us that every night he would think about what story could he tell us to teach us something new. And on some of those beautiful childhood nights, my parents would come in standing arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, swaying side to side, and sing songs before bedtime. Our dad lifting his chin up, filling his lungs big in full happiness and confidence and pride, singing with such pure joy.
Abba, you were the quiet, humble strength in our family with your gentle, calm sweetness. Although at times, he did have a little bit of a temper. When we were little, sometimes we'd hear him yell at being frustrated during one of his projects in the basement. But in our adult life, we just laughed, talking about the litany of swear words that he would spew, starting out in English and always ending in Arabic, always making us laugh. Our dad was also very handy, always fixing things on his own and making and creating things. When Elisa and I were little, he built this gigantic life-size dollhouse. One side opened up to show 2 floors of a house with rooms filled with dolls and furniture, and the other side was a puppet theater. It was literally the most incredible thing. He always was so creative and always coming up with his own unique way of doing things.
In my adulthood, when something in my house needed to be fixed, or I was doing another crazy project, I would call my dad to come help me. He would bring every possible tool and part we needed, and we would work together. I was his helper, his apprentice. He would teach me what he was doing when he worked. And we would talk about life. But it was the hidden details of those lessons that were his magic. Toots. Sometimes you have to be persistent and determined to keep trying when something doesn't work. But sometimes you need to know when it's okay to take a break or walk away or find a new perspective to try again. He would say, the first time you do something is the hardest, but it gets easier, and it will be better for the next time. He was always gently, subtly, leaving little bits of wisdom for me to absorb. He was the kindest soul to every person and every living thing, even the bugs that he wouldn't kill. If one got in the house, he would say, "It's still a little creature," and he would put it in a cup to set it free outside.
He taught us all to see the beauty and blessing in everything around us. He loved nature and being outside. Camping was a thing we did as a family every year, starting in Israel and continuing every year back here as we were growing up. He loved all the tents and all the equipment. Everything about it was a pure example of how he loved the simple pleasures in life and appreciated God's true gifts. And my dad was somewhat of a dog whisperer. He trained his beloved Lily to be a therapy dog so they could help others together. He also had such a tender way with our dogs. Our dogs loved him so. He'd get down on the floor and snuggle with them and always had treats just conveniently waiting in his pockets for them. He once said something to me in a conversation when I was talking about my golden, Murphy, being difficult to walk one day. He said, "Those walks, that time with her is her time to be a dog. She's always in a house, a human house, dealing with whatever you need her to be doing. But her time outside on her walks is her time to be her true self and do all her doggy things." Ever since then, my walks with my dog are more enjoyable and more relaxed as I let her just be, smelling and exploring what she wants. My dad, always teaching those kind of lessons and changing people's and doggies' worlds with simple acts of compassion and empathy.
When my beloved dog Rocky died 2 years ago, I really struggled to get through the loss. And my dad, in his exceptional ability to provide comfort, told me that dogs are brought into our lives to teach us unconditional love and also to teach us how to handle grief and loss, how to cope with profound sadness. He told me, "Each day in the beginning you may not feel any better, but one day you will, and the pain will start to ease. You will be okay, Toots. You don't think you will. You don't think you will now, but I promise you, you will heal." He was always empowering us with bravery, strength, and courage. A few weeks ago, we talked about how much he had helped me during that time. And he said, "My Dolly, I will help you through this time too. Just close your eyes and listen for my voice." Dad, we will listen for your voice. Your spirituality enlightened our lives and will continue to give us strength. Everything you were and everything you have taught us has empowered us to survive losing you. My dad was extraordinary, and he had an extraordinary sweet tooth, especially for candy. At the end, Tootsie Rolls became a special detail of his life. As one of the thousands of random bits of his vast knowledge, he told us that Tootsie Rolls were invented by Leo Hirschfeld, an Austrian immigrant who had created the candy in 1896 at the New York World's Fair. And even better, he named it after his daughter Tootsie. How fitting that my dad called us both Toots, as such a sign of endearment without even knowing that parallel. He loved to say, "How amazing that a Jewish immigrant so long ago created a delicious little bit of joy for me so many years later." Sometimes he even joked that he should eat a Tootsie Roll as he passes. What a way to go out. But even at the end, he would ask for a little taste of a Tootsie Roll. "What joy," he would say. "Remember that such a little thing can bring such joy." A perfect example of our dad in the darkest moments.
He was so talented, always humble and never arrogant or a show-off, as he created such beautiful art through painting, ceramics, and photography. He loved and appreciated the small things and saw ultimate beauty in the details. He once looked down into the garbage can at home and saw a flower thrown in among some peach pits and half-eaten fruit. He must have taken over 100 photographs of those flower petals and peach pits with passion fruit seeds. Not seeing garbage, but was simply in awe of the magnificent colors and textures and beauty of the sweet fruit around a flower. All our lives, my dad was taking pictures. He was always behind the camera, ready to capture a moment, a detail. There are thousands of pictures of us and of our kids as he captured every magical small and big moment on camera. And in every picture he took, we see him there and feel his presence. Abba, rest easy. There will be no more anathemas, no more chaos. It's been the greatest pleasure of our lives to have had these weeks of constantly holding your hand and giving you kisses on your beautiful wrinkle-free face with the softest skin and always smelling like sweet cologne. I'm going to miss your big lion-sized yawns and your giant sneezes and loud kisses right in our ears. I'm going to miss dancing around the kitchen on your feet and hearing you call us Dolly and Sweet Tootsie. We're going to miss you here so much. But you have your whole family waiting for you. Your brother and your sister and your mom and your dad and your sweet loving Creeder. And Lily and Princess and even your Rex are going to jump into your arms. They're all waiting for you. And they must be so excited to hug and kiss you. I love you, Abba, forever and always. See you in the future.
Dad, when this nightmare began 10 weeks ago, we initially thought we had more time. We first hoped for a few good years, and then as time passed, and despite your unwavering will to live, we had to keep changing our prayers from one good year ahead to a few good months. And then after you so bravely decided to start hospice, we prayed for one good month at home, and then one good week. And then it was clear you would not even get one good day. But we reframed our perspective, as you had always taught us to do. And we looked at the details of the 9 weeks before, and we saw that the greatest hidden blessings in all this, the time we had been together, was the true gift. You had so perfectly quoted Tale of Two Cities at some point in the hospital, saying, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." And during this worst time, we had the most beautiful quality time of the Lidsky Four. We heard stories from your childhood that we had never known. We laughed about memories we had forgotten. We cried more tears than we ever thought possible. We talked for hours and hours a day for almost 9 straight weeks. We spent more time together than we ever had. Our hearts and souls bonded even deeper than we could have thought possible. We wrapped you in so many blankets when you were cold. You looked like E.T. But you said you were so blessed to be wrapped up in so much love. We were also blessed to be wrapped up in so much love. Every day together, from day one to the end, every second was priceless and etched in our memories. Dad, you loved the meaning behind numbers, the hidden blessings that you taught us to see. How holy that you took your last breath at 2:36, double chai, on the date 7/4/25, that adds to 18. It was the greatest honor to be your daughters, to be raised and adored and taught and cherished by such a man. We promise we will live out your legacy. I will miss you every second of my life, but I know you are looking down on us, protecting us, guiding us, and loving us forever.
thank you all for coming. I know my Baba would be so honored that all of you are here. I've always believed that my Baba and I were cut from the same cloth. I think I grew to look at the world the same way he did, through art and people and moments. He taught me what it really means to help others and express yourself through art, how to truly be there for others, and what cherishing a moment feels like. He lived his life by these tenets. So many moments with our Baba have been running on a loop in my head for weeks now. I think about the silly, fun times when we were little. For example, he would make huge soapy bubbles with his hands that only he seemed to be able to make. I loved watching him write scripts with Ari for plays they put on and make potions with us on the floor of the basement. I can perfectly picture walking him and Tata around New York and taking them to my favorite restaurant when they visited me at college. In each of these moments, he is smiling and happy, kissing our heads, and giving us tight hugs. These moments will stay with me forever. I think back to the love of art Baba instilled in me. He is my biggest inspiration. Some of my most calming and happiest memories are doing art projects with Baba, from finger painting on an easel to drawing little characters together, to him letting me paint his nails. At such a young age, I was awestruck by the beauty of his artwork, especially amazed by watching him work on his paintings in real time in the basement. I would give anything to be able to sit and watch him paint now. Without sounding biased, our Baba was truly an amazing artist. I look at his paintings and think how humble he was about them, and how many times he seemed almost shocked to hear how much I loved his work. From his paintings to his ceramic plates, to his photography, to his masks, I believe that my Baba could truly have been one of the greats. He took me to the Art Institute for the first time, and while I was there, I remember thinking that Baba's pieces were way better than the art in the museum. Throughout my childhood, and even just until he got sick, Baba would always have little art-related gifts for me. He would find a funny shaped fan brush he thought I had to have, some charcoal pencils, or a portable easel for my room. Gift after gift, he gave me an entire art studio. He gave me art books about technique, art history, art therapy, which I was especially interested in as someone who loved art and wanted to go into healthcare. We bonded over the idea of helping people through art. He told me story after story about what he learned and how he practiced. I collected lessons which I intend to take into my practice as a physician about how to care for people in their darkest times and how art can truly give people light and beauty. Getting to see how proud he was of his work and how fulfilled it made him was such a gift to me. Not only was he our Baba, but he was an art therapist that made such a significant impact on people's lives. He had this ability to look at the world in a way I've never seen anyone else look at it, as something remarkably beautiful. Each bug, rock, book, and person had meaning and purpose to him. He captured everything in such a unique way through his photography, ceramics, paintings, but also through his words. Everything our Baba said or did, in his own little way, was intentional and somehow profound. He would make a small comment about seeing the world through our dog, Murphy's eyes, or capture an image in a painting with so much light and color and emotion that it makes you want to cry. He had a way of making everything and everyone around him feel seen and beautiful. Along with this beauty, Baba had a way of creating such a special connection with each of us, and in turn making us feel special. He had this ability to create connections through nicknames and inside jokes and phrases. He Hearing him say, "Hi, Toots," or "Hi, my Dolly," or "Hi, Jordan Hannah," brought me so much happiness and warmth. He called all of us by our first and middle names. Leora Beth, Aaron Paul, Jordan Hannah, Ari Jacob, and Jonah Brett. And for Jonah's name, he had a little song along with it. Somehow, by just using our middle names, he had the ability to make us feel so cherished and unique and loved. He had inside jokes with the boys, like Pit Stop and Jimmy John's, and would make our whole family belly laugh when he said those words. Not only did he show his love for us through his nicknames and words, but he showed them through his actions. When Papa would pick us up from school when we were younger, he would always have a bag of perfectly salted popcorn waiting in his car. He made every effort to show interest in our interests, whether it be asking questions about Bulls games we went to together, watching a TV show we liked with us, or listening to me tell him about my classes at school. When I offhandedly mentioned I needed more storage for my jewelry, a few weeks later he brought me the perfect jewelry box, remembering exactly what I said I needed it for. Through every question, every gesture, every kiss, every hug, Baba showed us his love for us. Each year, during Passover, Baba would sit at the head of the table and lead our Seders, giving eloquent commentary on every food on the Seder plate, with each page of his Haggadah having notes upon notes in the margins. This year especially, he seemed to have extra airtime to speak, all of us engaged in his mini Torah study. He was truly a scholar. He spent hours preparing each year to lead our Seders with such poise and thoughtfulness. Our Baba, and I'm sure for those of you who know him well, can attest to this, is genuinely, without a doubt, the smartest, most philosophical and thoughtful person we knew. He had wisdom that would take someone like you or me thousands of years to gain. Especially in recent months, we discovered an even deeper genius in him than we thought possible, something we didn't believe could be surpassed. He astonished us by quoting Shakespeare verbatim and from memory and speaking fluently in 3 languages we had never heard him use before. It was a privilege to witness and be surrounded by his brilliance, unmatched by anyone I have ever and probably will ever meet in my lifetime. This part is directly for you, Baba. I know you're listening. In the last few weeks, when I realized that this was becoming a reality, I began grasping at anything to give me a way to deal with the after you were gone. How do I pick up my life, go to school, and begin a new chapter you aren't in? It feels impossible, and I think to some degree it always will be. When I think of my future and milestones in my life, each and every one of them has you in it, standing there beside me. Now I have to rationalize and learn to live with you being there in a different way. Even though I know that if there's anyone who will move heaven and earth to be there for me, for all of us, it's you. I've thought a lot about what everyday life will look like and how I can find you in the day-to-day. I look at my family and I see pieces of you in each of us, and in that way, I know you're with me. I see you in Ari, when he sneezes 3 times after eating chocolate, just like you. And when I look at his chin, and when he uses just as much salt and pepper on his food as you did. I see you in Jonah, when I smell his cologne, because you know that he loves the one you gave him in Ari. And when I see how sensitive he is with others, just like you. And I see you in myself. When I look at my messy room, which we both seem to have a talent for. When I make art, when I buy flowers at the store, when I care for patients in the way you instilled in me. I see you in the water, the trees, and flowers and clouds, all things that you painted and photographed so incredibly. I see you in the spiders on our porch, which I would squash in a heartbeat. But you would spare because you, as you always said, you loved all little creatures. I see you in your paintings on the walls, my favorite paintings in the world, which over the past few days I find myself constantly staring at, searching for anything in them I haven't seen before. I know for the rest of our lives you'll be with us. Since the day each of us was born, you have not missed a single birthday, graduation, school play, or basketball game. I have no doubt that we will feel you at every big event in our lives to come, and each and every day, I know that you will surround us like a warm blanket, like you always said that we did for you. Last week, you talked about us wanting to be proud of you, Baba. There's no one we could have been or could ever be more proud of. Your ingenuity, empathy, authenticity, and passion are truly unparalleled by anyone I have ever met. The words love and compassion would be an understatement for how you've treated our family. I remember Baba swimming in the pool in the backyard with my brothers, and Jonah asked, "Why do you clean the pool so much, now that we don't really go in it?" He answered, "I clean it just in case one of you wants to go in." That's our Baba. We know that you will be taking care of us from up there, and we intend to wake up every day and live lives that make you proud of us. I hope that we can touch half as many people as you have, and continue to build a family as loving as the one you have given us. You have always made it so that we never said goodbye to you. Whenever we accidentally said bye, Baba, you would say, "No, Dolly, did you just see you in the future?" It was always see you in the future. I never said goodbye to you once in my entire life, and I won't say goodbye now. Your Jordan Hannah, Ari Jacob, and Jonah Brett love you more than anything, and we'll see you in the future.
I can't speak about all aspects of Jerry Lidsky, not fully. Orly and I have been blessed to have had him as our Saba. We can't imagine our childhoods without him. But the truth is, even though Saba knew us for 100% of our lives, we've only known him for the last quarter of his. This is a painful reminder that grandparents know us more than we know them, but it's also a blessing in its own way. The 20-something-year-old Jerry Lidsky, as one of my peers, could have been one of my best friends. A young, passionate Zionist with his feet on the ground and his head in the clouds. An artist with a burning desire to leave the world a better place by uplifting others. As I've been poring through albums of old photos of our Saba, looking at his face with 60 fewer years worth of aging, I can't help but wonder what it would have been like to know him then. Nevertheless, the fact that we have had such a special relationship with him is precisely because we've had the privilege to call him Saba.
There are so many moments that have gone through our minds the last 11 weeks. Moments like having him over for dinner at our house and hugging him at the door while he took out loose dog treats from his jacket pocket to give to the dog are vivid in memory and examples of how much affection he exuded. I will always remember even the small moments, like the love I would feel after I baked him a new recipe, and later would get a thank you text of how sweet they were, and a classic and beloved Saba-style message.
From a grandchild's point of view, grandparents can take on an elevated, almost magical status. Their imperfections become endearing quirks. Saba's extensive collections of vintage cameras, hardware tools, and old books may have made him a bit of a hoarder to some, or at least according to our Safta. But to us, his collections made him a guardian of ancient artifacts, a curator to an exhibit of treasures, a custodian to history itself. As our Saba, he inspired us in ways that only someone with decades of wisdom could. His mind was a seemingly endless library of scholarly writings, ancient mythologies, and Judaic teachings, which he could retrieve at a moment's notice to provide comfort and insight in any situation. A lifetime of photography trained his eye to see the unseen, to capture fleeting moments that shed light on the richness of the human experience. Saba did more than just ignite my creative spark and empower me to passionately embrace my Jewish identity. From my mind to my soul, he taught me empathy and kindness.
Saba frequently reminded us of the importance of perspective and seeing the world through our unique points of view, but not to forget to think about others' perspectives too. I feel a special connection to him through his experience as a therapist and his ability to listen and make others feel heard and validated. I will keep with me every conversation we had or story he shared, as he's an everlasting role model and guide for me of how to make a lasting impact on patients, friends, family, and strangers with his warmth and compassion.
Saba was and will always continue to be one of our greatest sources of inspiration. He was deeply spiritual, but never preachy, charming, but not vain, and gentle, but not stifled. For him, who was enamored by the Hebrew language and the power of words to construct the very fabric of reality, I share a piece of wisdom he taught me. The Hebrew word for faith, emunah, shares the same root as the word for art, omanut. How perfectly him. Saba had the one-of-a-kind power to touch every soul he encountered. His legacy lives on in all of us, no matter the portion of his lifetime that we were privileged to share.
In this week's Torah portion, Balak, the prophet Balaam, intent on cursing the Israelites, is overcome by a higher vision. As he gazes upon our people, he sees not their flaws, but their beauty, not their struggles, but their sacred potential. And thus, only blessings pour forth from his lips. Balaam teaches us something profound. When we choose to see the good, blessing becomes inevitable. Jerry Lidsky lived his life with those eyes. With the sacred gift of seeing the good in others and of helping them see the good in themselves. It was not just his outlook, it was his essence. Indeed, his Hebrew name, Yerucham, means he who is compassionate, who shows compassion. I would call out his name, Yerucham, and he would respond, Ken yehi ratzon, may it be God's will. Born the youngest child of Minnie and Abe Lidsky, Jerry's very arrival into this world was nothing short of miraculous. He was a miracle baby, born weighing just 2 pounds. And yet, from those fragile beginnings blossomed a life of immense strength, purpose, and love. From early on, Jerry was full of spirit, a proud and active USY leader, eventually rising to serve as president of his region. He carried his passion for Jewish life in Israel into everything he did. His Zionism was born in his youth and never waned. From his first transformative trip on Machon Chutz La'aretz, to living in Israel, to leading teens through the March of the Living and Ta'am Yisrael. It was at Olin Saying, then just Olin Saying Union Institute, where he met the love of his life, Anne. Such a sweet courtship. He created a bit of a code that he would say the good nights at the end of the day on the Ramkol, on the loudspeaker, throughout the camp. And he would always include, good night, Winnie the Pooh, because he had given Anne a stuffed animal that they called Winnie the Pooh, even though it wasn't actually Winnie the Pooh. And it worked for quite a while, but then some of Anne's campers caught on, and they figured out Jerry was talking about her. Together, they were the couple of the summer, and together they built a love story that would endure for 58 beautiful years. Their marriage was a living Torah, filled with kindness, growth, and sacred partnership. Anne shared how supported she felt by Jerry in everything that she did, anything that she dreamed of. Jerry's educational journey took him from UIC at Navy Pier to Roosevelt College, where he remained active in the Student Zionist Organization. Always the learner, Jerry quietly acquired numerous certifications over the years. Never boastful, always humble. He had no desire for the spotlight, and yet his impact was immense, rippling out through classrooms, counseling sessions, museum galleries, and living rooms across the world. He was truly a Renaissance man. I found out something I never knew about Jerry. He played the drums. He was in his high school marching band and later in a band of his own, and just this morning, Anne sent me a picture of this handsome, handsome man sitting behind a drum kit. He was, as you know, incredibly handy, able to fix almost anything, and usually with one of the 5 of every tool that he actually owned. His favorite stores, Goodwill, the dollar store, flea markets, not for bargains alone, but because he could see possibility in what others might overlook. Jerry could see potential in people, in objects, in the world, sometimes much to Anne's chagrin. He taught everyone, go forward with confidence, and he lived that lesson every day. He was a collector not just of things, but of memories, of stories, of moments. His photography captured the awe he felt for the world around him, the beauty of a flower, the detail of a branch, the shimmer of sunlight on a pond. The botanic gardens were his sanctuary. His lens revealed what his heart already knew. The extraordinary is all around us if only we take the time to look. Cherish every moment, he would say, and he did. And he'd help others do the same. Jerry's love of Israel shaped his career and his identity. Alongside Anne, he made Aliyah, living in Israel from 1972 to 75. There he served as a psychotherapist at Beit Cholim Geha and as art director at the international school Kfar Shmaryahu. He brought his whole heart to his work, gently guiding others toward healing and toward wholeness. Back in the States, Jerry became a pillar of the Chicago Jewish community. For over 25 years, he taught here at Temple Jeremiah, instilling Jewish values, compassion, and curiosity in his students. I'm told even a few of them wanted to dress like Jerry, getting sweaters that he used to love to wear. He facilitated classes with Melton, guided families on Holocaust journeys, and nurtured a love of learning in all who crossed his path. I had the great honor of teaching confirmation class with Jerry for so many years. He was not just my teaching partner, he was truly my teacher and my friend. In this way, we greeted one another, particularly in these last weeks. I, along with so many, eagerly looked forward to his Yom Kippur afternoon study sessions. His teachings were both esoteric and incredibly accessible. He was a cherished teacher in our Torah study group as well. And who can forget the Purim spiels? Jerry was always Mordechai. And no matter the setting, no matter the accent that he was supposed to be using, it always morphed into this East European shtetl voice. He was a deeply gifted therapist. He practiced his art not only in paint and photography, but in people. As a psychotherapist, as an educator, as an art therapist, he mended fractured spirits. He was a lifeline to so many at Highland Park Hospital, Northwestern, Mercy, Lakeside Counseling. He walked with those struggling through the fog of depression, trauma, and pain. And in his presence, they felt lighter, stronger, whole. He was honored by hospitals and counseling centers alike for his rare ability to truly hear and heal. He helped people feel safe, whole, and seen. He was a role model, a gentle soul with fierce integrity. A mensch. He saw the good, and by seeing it, he helped others see it too. To so many, Jerry was a spiritual mentor, a man who taught by example, a man who gave freely of his love. His hugs and kisses were abundant and genuine. He listened not just in words, but in hearts. He was always learning, always curious, always interested in what you thought. That was Jerry. He made you feel your voice mattered because to him, it did. And Anne, his Anne, their bond was not just a marriage, it was a covenant, a sacred, enduring love. They were partners in every sense, exploring the world, sharing dreams, lifting others. Together, they raised two incredible daughters, Elisa and Leora, who each carried Jerry's light forward in their own ways, with grace, kindness, and strength. And Jerry's joy multiplied in the love he shared with his sons-in-law, Jeff and Aaron, whom he embraced not as sons-in-law, but simply and fully as sons. His role as Saba, or Baba, was among his most cherished. He never missed a game, a recital, a milestone. He was the get-on-the-floor kind of grandparent, silly and loving and proud. Jordan, Ari, Jonah, Noah, and Orly were not just his grandchildren to him. They were his joy, his legacy, his delight. Jerry volunteered as a docent at the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center for years, knowing the importance of memory. He felt responsible for carrying those stories forward, for ensuring never again was more than a slogan. He had a gift for making the past personal, for helping others connect to history with heart and with conscience. In his last days, he made a point of sharing with me a photo album of his ancestors and sharing their stories so that these stories could live on with me as well. Everything was connected for Jerry. He felt the threads of the universe intertwining. His life was a mosaic of meaning, And Jerry was so grateful. He took nothing for granted. And now Jerry has passed into eternity. And how fitting that his soul left this world as Shabbat was about to begin. Jewish tradition teaches that those who pass at this sacred threshold are neshama yetera, a soul with an extra measure of holiness. It is a divine gift, a mark of righteousness. We can believe with hearts full of love and sorrow that Jerry's soul slipped into the embraces of Shabbat, into peace, into light. He leaves behind Anne, Leora, Aaron, and Jeff, and his 5 beloved grandchildren, and so many of us who were made better by his presence. He demonstratively loved. He lived with awe. He blessed and was a blessing. As the family was leaving the funeral home the other day, I was told that Bill Rubin came chasing after them and identified Jerry as one of the Lamed Vavniks. Our sages teach that in every generation there walk among us 36 hidden righteous souls, Lamed Vavniks, who sustain the world through their quiet goodness. These individuals never seek honor. They do not know their own holiness. They live not for glory, but for kindness, for decency, for love. Most of the world does not notice them, but if you are lucky, if your soul is paying attention, you may encounter one, and your life is changed. Jerry Lidsky was surely one of the 36. He did not need recognition. He deflected praise, and in his goodness quietly upheld the world, person by person, soul by soul. Through the students he taught, the clients he healed, the family he nurtured, the stories he shared, the justice he pursued, and the memories he preserved. Like the Lamed Vavniks, Jerry walked through this world with humility, compassion, and quiet strength. He saw the good in everyone. He gave people hope. He made the world more whole, not with fanfare, but with love. Perhaps Jerry never knew the fullness of his righteousness, but we do. We saw it, we felt it, and we are better because of it. The world is dimmer without him, but it is still held, still sustained because of the light he shared so freely. Because Jerry Lidsky, our teacher, our healer, our friend, was one of those rare souls whose goodness keeps the world turning. May his memory be a guiding light. May we, like Jerry, seek the good. May we, like Jerry, cherish every moment. And may we, like Jerry, go forward with confidence. Zichrono livracha. May the memory of Jerry Lidsky be for an everlasting blessing, a loving son, a brother, cherished husband, adoring father, doting Saba and Baba, loving brother-in-law, uncle, and treasured friend and teacher to so many. And let us say, Amen. We invite you to rise for the memorial prayer, El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Yerucham ben Avraham Umenucha Shahalach Leolamo Baal harachamim yastirehu, beseter knafav lolamim. Bitzror achayim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, ve'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Jerry Lidsky, Yerucham ben Avraham Umenucha, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We bring this service to a close with a recitation of Kaddish. The Kaddish makes no mention of death, no mention of grief or mourning. It is a prayer, a collection of praises of God, and that even in our moments of grief, we feel God's presence, and we are grateful, as Jerry was in each and every moment of his life. Together. Yitkadal v'kadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yiruteh v'amlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'tadar v'tale v'talal shmei dekutsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
May God grant peace to all who mourn the passing of Jerry Lidsky, Yerucham ben Avraham Umenucha. And may God bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And to this once again we say, Amen.
Please remain standing as we escort Anne and her family to a private room. Please be seated. The Shiva will continue here following the service till 5 p.m., then again from 6 to 8 p.m., Tuesday from 4 to 8 p.m., with a minyan each evening today and tomorrow at 7 p.m. Memorial contributions to the Chicago Botanic Garden, please see the notes on the service folder or Temple Jeremiah. For those of you who are joining us online, that information is on the funeral home's website. At this time, I invite everyone to step into the lobby for about 20 minutes. We're going to turn the room around, and then everyone is invited for Shiva and also to give comfort to the Lidsky family. You may return to the lobby.